Sometimes in our lives, we like to think of life as a nice little straight line. But when life throws its unexpected, crazy plot twists at our nice little straight line, it sends our nice little straight line into a series of zigzags and curves and loops. That one over there, that one looks like an illness. Maybe the illness of a parent, of a child, or maybe even your own. That one over there looks like the loss of a job, that demotion instead of that promotion that you were waiting on. And this one looks like that opportunity that you missed by just this much that keeps replaying over and over and over again in your head. But don't get me started about those unanswered questions. You know the ones. Where would I be now if I had gone to that school or if I had gone to school? Why did I get married so early? Why did I get married so late? Why did I have a child so early? Why did I wait so long to try to have a child? What if? And you fill in the blank. As a life coach, and more specifically a mindset coach for entrepreneurs and for people who want to achieve things in their lives, I ask each and every one of my Say Life family members this question. What is standing in the space between where you are now and where you want to be? And the most common answer that I get is life. Life got in the way. Somewhere along their nice little straight line, life happened and seemed to mess it all up. What if those life-altering detours that you make and that we encounter in our lives are actually taking it to a dead end? I mean, our GPS does it sometimes, has us going around in circles. But what if those life-altering detours are actually trying to point you into the direction where you've always desired to go? How? How are you going to look at those life-altering disruptions, interruptions, those zigzag lines in our lives? We have a choice. We have a choice on how we choose to view those zigzag lines. What if? What if the curves, the loops, and the zigzags are all a part of the fabric from which life is made? What if the cacophony of sounds is actually the music? Speaking of music, when I'm giving my amazing rendition of a Kirk Franklin song, or depending upon the day, a Tina Marie song in the shower, some of my best work, and all of a sudden, bam, my husband barges in asking for said undergarment or sock, sends my nice little straight line into a loop. Or perhaps that lovely delivery person or the cable person that I've been waiting all day for decides to stop by about 5 minutes into that shower, and it's feeling good, the water's good, and then I gotta get out and take care of that. Or my 2 dogs go into a barking frenzy, making me think that somebody is 5 seconds away from endangering my family, never to be heard or seen of again. Or, like the toy poodle a couple doors down. But what if the barging in husband, the delivery person, and the barking dog are all a part of the song that I'm singing rather than an interruption of it? Now, I know sometimes those interruptions, those disruptions, those zigzag lines in our lives are much bigger than the delivery person, a barging husband, or a dog. Sometimes they're not so small. But look at your life. In fact, look at today. There's probably a lot of disruptions and interruptions. Your day is probably filled with those things or experiences. And a very wise person in my life told me that life, without these experiences, that's what life is. Life is experiences. And studies show that there are benefits that come with reframing your challenges as opportunities. This is my sweet, precious mom. Her name is Dr. Ethel M. Lassiter, accomplished organist, retired principal, administrator, college professor, mother, sister, daughter, wife, friend, and all-around amazing lady. In fact, the day that I was born, that's me, the day that I was born, she was late to the hospital because she was up all night working on her dissertation to get her doctorate degree. That's the type of woman that she is. a heart of gold. And you know what? One thing I absolutely admire about her is that she has the ability to love other people's children as her own. Sometimes that's not always easy. She wears so many hats that I won't have time to talk about all of them today, but one hat that I am grateful to wear is caregiver. You see, my mom, a few years back, had to retire due to health challenges. And as I was working my 9-to-5 job, I would pray and ask God for the opportunity to be able to help her in some way. Well, later, I got that opportunity. My husband and I made the decision, to have her come to our home in Virginia, just to give her some time and support so that she could feel better and get back on her feet. And at first, things were going to plan, our plan at least, until the hospital stays and the long time at the rehabilitation center and the back and forth to the ICU. An interruption, a disruption, a zigzag line. For the past couple of years, I have had the same alarm tone on my phone, and it's a song, and you may have heard of it. It's called Blessings by Laura Story. What if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if trials of this life are your mercies in disguise? And on this particular morning, I was in mourning, and as the lyrics from the song floated from my phone to my ears, the tears drifted from my eyes to the floor as I mourned what that condition had taken from my mom. Her once boisterous laughter and the knee slapping now diminished. And her beautiful gap-toothed smile that shone so brightly now took a great deal of effort. Fast forward to that night where I was in my car, sitting outside of my house, now faced with the decision to go on family medical leave without pay. And then those lyrics came back to my mind. What if your trials of this life are your mercies in disguise? What if the barging in husband? What if the delivery person and the barking dogs are all a part of the song that we're singing rather than an interruption of it? What if the ailing parent, the loss of a job, and those life-altering detours that come in the form of decisions that we have to make throughout this life are all of a part of the song that we're singing rather than an interruption of it? And outside of my house, in that car, I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice to look at my situation in a way that I may not would have. I had to choose gratefulness. And I looked to the ceiling of the car and I said, God, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe through this I'll have the opportunity to grow. Maybe this is an opportunity to spend that precious, precious time with my mom so she can focus on her health and healing, time that we'll never, ever get back. Or maybe this is an opportunity to put 2 feet into my life coaching practice. An interruption, a disruption, a zigzag line. What if? We have a choice. And like I said, I had to make that choice. And during that time of caregiving, it was a choice that I had to make continuously, a conscious decision. For example, being frazzled, trying to figure out the logistics of getting her up the steps, building a ramp, getting the ramp to the house, getting back and forth to treatment, until all of a sudden getting the phone call that she was on life support, and all of a sudden being grateful that I even had those challenges. Studies show an association between gratitude and well-being. And even though it may be easier said than done, and of course it's important to consider trauma, mental health challenges and the like, in my life I've had to make a conscious decision. And Sean Acor, who wrote The Happiness Advantage, said people who cultivate a positive mindset perform better in the face of challenge. Conscious decision. And also, research shows that doing things that actually change your state can be beneficial. And there I was, in my white hat and bright yellow dress, standing in a sea of black suits in January, in front of my mother's shimmering white casket, with the most beautiful waterfall of pink roses that I had ever seen. And I held 2 yellow roses in my hand, and I took 1 yellow rose from my white laced gloved hand, and I put the other in her white laced gloved hand, and I kissed her on the forehead, as was customary before going to bed each night. Then I nodded to the director that he could close my mama's shimmering white casket. And following several dignitaries and the mayor and college officials and the like, when it was time for me to give my reflections as a daughter, I stood up, and before I went back to my seat, those lyrics came back to my mind, the ones that had come to me in my room that day, tears streaming. And outside my house, sitting in my car, faced with a very important decision. What if your blessings come through raindrops? What if your healing comes through tears? What if 1,000 sleepless nights are what it takes to know you're near? What if our greatest disappointments and the aching of this life are a revealing of the greater thirst this world can't satisfy? What if trials of this life, the rain, the storms, the hardest nights, are your mercies in disguise? What if the barging in husband, who may be tired of me using him as an example, the delivery person, what if the barking dogs are all a part of the song that we're singing instead of an interruption of it? What if the ailing parent, the illness, the job loss, the life-altering detours, and saying goodbye to someone that you love are all a part of the song that we're singing rather than an interruption of it? What if the zigzags, the curves, and the loops are all a part of the fabric from which life is made? Thank you for listening.